They tell you that the secret to aging is staying incredibly sweet. They tell you to just smile and nod when your middle-aged son talks to you like you are a helpless toddler. Society pushes this very dangerous lie onto older women. They say you must endure every single drop of condescension from your adult children. If you do not let them become the CEO of your life, they will completely abandon you. People actually believe that if you set firm boundaries, you will die alone in a cold, empty house. Well, that is absolute garbage. I am 103 years old. My name is Mabel. I sit here in total peace every single day. I have an untouchable fortress of quiet. But this peace did not magically fall out of the sky. I protect it with heavy steel doors and iron boundaries. Shrinking yourself down just to keep your adult kids comfortable is a terrible idea. It is the absolute fastest way to completely destroy your brain sparkle. You spend decades feeding them and raising them. Then they suddenly decide they need to manage your entire existence. It is an absolute tragedy. You cannot have a happy ending to a miserable journey. You simply cannot. You do not have to buy their affection with your own submission. So today, I am going to share my ultimate longevity secret. It will instantly stop their family disrespect. You will not need to raise your voice at all. You will not need to throw a fit or cry. You just need to look them in the eye and use 4 powerful words. My house, my rules. Let us talk about the very first trap. I call it the Dollification Trap. Disrespect rarely looks like a screaming match. It sneaks right through your front door. It wears a nice sweater. It brings a cheap box of cookies. Then it opens its mouth. It speaks to you like a fragile porcelain doll. My oldest boy came over last Tuesday. He is 68 years old. He has gray hair and a bad knee. He sat on my sofa. He picked up the television remote. It is just a piece of plastic with buttons. He held it up to my face. He used a high-pitched sing-song voice. He sounded like a kindergarten teacher. He pointed to the red power button. He spoke very slowly. He told me to press the shiny red circle to turn on the magic picture box. I just stared at him. I did not blink. I did not smile to make him feel better. I let a long silence fill the room. Well, I finally spoke. I kept my voice flat and icy. I looked right into his eyes. I said, "Listen to me, sonny boy. I am the grand matriarch of this family. I taught you how to hold a metal spoon. I stopped you from starving to death in 1958. Hand me the remote right now." He handed it over immediately. He looked down at his shoes. You must never accept the baby voice. Do not laugh it off. Nip it in the bud right there. You see, they think they are being sweet. They think aging turns your brain to mush. They forget the decades of hard work. They forget you navigated recessions. They forget you paid off mortgages. They forget you buried loved ones. They look at your wrinkles. They see a helpless infant. They buy you large print books you did not ask for. They buy you ugly orthopedic shoes. They buy you those big plastic pill organizers. They leave them on your kitchen counter. They speak loudly in public places. They act like you lost your hearing along with your youth. My hearing is perfectly fine. I can hear the neighbors whispering across the street. You have to remind them of the pecking order. You do not need to yell. You just need a completely deadpan delivery. You hold your ground. You force them to hear their own ridiculous tone. They will feel foolish. They should feel foolish. They need to respect the years you survived on this earth. My knees crack every time I stand up. My lower back throbs when it rains. I do not hide the physical decay. Growing old hurts. It is a messy and painful business. Ah! It is definitely not for cowards, but a stiff back does not mean a weak mind. My brain sparkle is sharper than ever. I read thick books, I do hard crosswords, I track the world news. I refuse to be treated like a stuffed teddy bear. You must claim your space. You must defend your dignity. Now let us move to the second big problem. I call it the uninvited redecorator. This usually happens under the disguise of safety. Your adult children walk into your house. They start eyeing your furniture. They treat your living room like a dangerous obstacle course. My daughter visited me last month. She is a lovely girl. She means very well, but she just loves to boss people around. I have a beautiful green velvet armchair. I bought it in 1974. I keep it right next to the big bay window. The morning sun hits it perfectly. I sit there to drink my black coffee. I watch the neighborhood birds. I read my morning paper. It is my favorite spot in the whole world. I went into the kitchen to grab a napkin. I came back. My daughter was dragging my heavy velvet chair across the carpet. She pushed it against a dark, blank wall. She wiped her hands. She gave me a proud smile. She said it was a terrible tripping hazard. She said I could fall and break a bone. She said she was fixing my house for my own good. I felt a sudden spike of anger. She invaded my personal sanctuary. This is not just a building. This is my curated retreat. I chose every single item in this room. I arranged them to bring me joy. I pay the property taxes. I pay the electric bill. I enjoy complete thermostat sovereignty. I can set the heat to 80 degrees if I want to. I can eat ice cream at 3 in the morning. I am the absolute ruler of this domain. I looked at my daughter. I pointed my bony finger at the window. I told her to push the chair back immediately. She started to argue. She started whining about safety risks. I cut her off. I told her the biggest risk to my peace was her meddling. I told her to move the heavy chair back into the sunlight. I watched her struggle to push it back. She huffed and puffed. She finally put it exactly where I wanted it. I sat down in the sun. I took a sip of my coffee. I smiled, a very small smile. It felt fantastic. You must protect your physical environment. Do not let them turn your cozy home into a sterile waiting room. You are a queen in her castle. If you want a rug on the floor, you keep the rug. If you want a stack of books on the table, you keep the stack. Your house must reflect your beautiful, carefully curated retreat. It must not reflect their silly worries. They want to pack away your precious china. They want to throw out your old photo albums. They call it decluttering. I call it erasing my history. My house is a museum of a life well lived. Every scratch on the coffee table has a story. Every faded picture holds a memory. I will not live in a blank white box just so they can stop worrying. Their worry is their own personal problem. It is not my problem to solve. I have earned the right to be surrounded by my favorite things. Let us move on to the third massive drain on your precious energy. I call it the emotional dumpster. Society tells older women we must be endless wells of patience. This happens when your fully grown children use you as a free therapist. My youngest daughter is 55 years old. She calls me every single Tuesday night at exactly 8 o'clock. She never calls to ask about my arthritis or my garden. She calls to complain about her terrible boss. She talks for 45 minutes straight about her lazy husband. She whines about her expensive mortgage. She unloads all her daily garbage right onto my lap. She expects me to fix her adult problems with magical motherly wisdom. I used to fall for this trap. I used to give her long, thoughtful advice. I used to worry myself sick over her fragile marriage. It gave me terrible heartburn. Then I realized something very important. Worrying about capable adults is a massive waste of my brain sparkle. They are old enough to buy a house. They are old enough to clean up their own messy lives. I stopped playing the wise old owl. Now I use a very simple trick. It is called the gray rock method. She calls and starts whining about her office drama. I put the phone on speaker mode. I set it down on my heavy oak kitchen table. I pour myself a hot cup of peppermint tea. I stare blankly at the floral wallpaper. I give her the most boring answers possible. I say, "Oh my." I say, "That sounds tough." I say, "Wow." I do not offer a single solution. I become as dull as a gray rock. She usually gets frustrated by my silence and hangs up after 10 minutes. You must protect your mental peace. Close the heavy metal lid on the emotional dumpster. This brings me to the fourth rule for living a long and peaceful life. You must completely stop arguing with your children. You must stop explaining your daily choices to them. Explaining your lifestyle is a dangerous trap. It automatically gives them a false sense of authority over you. It makes them think they have a vote in your life. Darling, they do not have a vote. I learned this lesson over breakfast last month. My oldest son came over early on a Sunday morning. He walked right into my sunny kitchen without knocking. He looked down at my ceramic plate. I was eating a giant slice of warm cherry pie. I also had a large square of dark chocolate next to my coffee. It was exactly 8 in the morning. He gasped loudly like he saw a ghost. He crossed his arms tightly over his chest. He looked at me with deep and heavy judgment. He started lecturing me about sugar intake and healthy habits. He treated me like a naughty teenager sneaking candy before dinner. In the past, I would have defended myself. I would have explained that I eat very healthy chicken dinners. But I am 103 years old. I have survived a world war and the terrifying invention of the internet. I do not need to justify my bakery choices to a grown man who still cannot match his own socks. I did not argue with him. I did not get angry or raise my voice. I took a very slow and deliberate bite of my pie. I chewed it loudly. I swallowed it. I looked up at him with a completely deadpan stare. I smiled very sweetly. I told him it tastes like pure joy. The look of sheer confusion on his face was absolutely priceless. He closed his mouth and slowly walked into the living room. You owe absolutely no one an explanation for your joy. Now we reach the final and most important lesson of all. This is the ultimate weapon to protect your physical space. I call it the four-word execution. Your adult children will constantly test your boundaries. They will try to push you around in tiny little ways. They will drop off their loud teenagers at your house without asking. They will demand free babysitting on a busy Saturday afternoon. They will walk into your hallway and loudly judge your pink, fuzzy slippers. They will try to tell you what news channels to watch on your own television. They think your home is just an extension of their own property. You do not need a long dramatic speech to stop them. You do not need to read a fancy psychology book about boundaries. You just need 4 simple words. You must say them with total and absolute confidence. You must say them with a spine made of pure steel. My house, my rules, that is it. That is the whole magic spell. My daughter told me to stop feeding the neighborhood stray cats on my back porch. She said they were dirty and annoying. I looked at her directly. I said, my house, my rules. My son tried to turn off my favorite baseball game to watch a boring political debate. I snatched the plastic remote right out of his hand. I looked him dead in the eye. I said, my house, my rules. It shuts down the disrespect instantly. It leaves no room for any further debate. It reminds them that they are merely a guest in your kingdom. You built this kingdom with decades of blood and sweat. You hold the ultimate power in this dynamic. Do not ever give that power away just to keep the peace. Keep your boundaries incredibly strong. Keep your gallows humor dark. Keep your heart warm. Well, it is the only way to truly survive and enjoy these bonus years. Setting these iron boundaries is not a bitter act. It is the absolute highest form of self-respect. You do not hate your adult children. You love them very deeply. You must love yourself enough to protect your peace. You spent your entire youth worrying about their fevers and their school grades. You scrubbed floors and worked incredibly hard to build this safe little world. Now it is time to actually enjoy the fruits of your labor. You are living in your magnificent bonus years right now. These years belong completely and entirely to you. You do not need to apologize for wanting a quiet afternoon. You do not need to explain your pink fuzzy slippers to a single soul. You are the absolute queen of your own domain. Let the kids figure out their own complicated messes. Society wants you to feel guilty for choosing yourself. They want you to feel bad for not being available 24 hours a day. Throw that heavy guilt directly into the garbage can. Guilt is just a useless emotion designed to keep older women exhausted. You have already paid your dues to the world. You raised your family. You did a wonderful job. Now your only job is to protect your joy. Your son will survive his minor anger over a television remote. Your daughter will easily recover from her annoyance about a velvet chair. They are adults with their own houses to manage. You must release the desperate need to keep everybody happy. Keeping them happy usually means making yourself completely miserable. I want you to do something very specific for me right now. I want you to stand up slowly and walk over to your favorite window. I want you to look outside at the big trees. Take a very deep and slow breath of fresh air. Feel the solid wooden floor under your tired feet. This is your beautiful and peaceful kingdom. You survived all the hardest parts of human life already. Now you get to just exist and be truly happy. Go into your cozy kitchen and make yourself a wonderful hot cup of chamomile tea. Drink it in total silence. Do not answer the ringing telephone today. Let it go straight to the answering machine. Claim your physical space and fiercely guard your precious brain sparkle. Darling, you have absolutely earned every single quiet second of this glorious freedom.